The next thing I like to show you is how to tilt the shoulder, waist, and the hips. So for this, I would understand that as a beginner, it might be a little challenging. My recommendation is to look at a lot of pictures. If you could Google fashion models, even just on the runway or general human beings, look at fashion poses, and then you'll see that how shoulders and waist and hips are working together. So in this case, instead of having my shoulder line straight, I decided that I want to tilt her shoulder this way, and the shoulder and the hips are in the same direction because she's having one of her legs moving forward, and here's our waist, right? So you kind of need to look at some picture to decide which picture you want to illustrate. I don't recommend to memorize this and do it by heart. What you can get from this lesson is to know that how you're going to move your measurements around, but how to have a specific pose. Find a picture that you like and take a look at that and draw your main lines and start going around that, right? So if we have the shoulder here, obviously you could kind of shape it that way, and for the waist, you're coming in, going out on this side, and I did my leg right there. There are a lot of different poses. I don't want to make this lesson very complicated, so I don't explain a lot about this. I just wanted you to know that this exists. That will be more explained in level 2 when we're actually going to do a lot of those. The next thing is using a compass to move your arms and legs. Okay, and so in the favor of time again, I went ahead and drew the basic model, and I'll tell you how I got those measurements. For example, if you're looking at this, you're going to have your compass ready, and you're going to decide on some important points. For the legs, we are going to consider that line as that dot as our major point. Then we have the middle of the knee and middle of the ankle and middle of the toe, like the feet part. For the arms, we are going to have this line between the shoulder line and the bust line. So in the middle of that, there should be a point. So between this section, we're going to consider that point. Then our elbow, wrist, and tip of the finger. Okay. Now how you're going to do that, you're going to use the needle of your compass right there in the middle of your arm. And I start with the fingers here. So you put it at the bottom of the finger, which is number 5, and you draw a circle, right? At the same time, move on to the other side. Again, you kind of need to have the starting point. You don't need to have all the rest, but the starting point is important because you're going to use that one measurement for both sides. Now that we have this measured, I'm gonna put my needle on that side and draw another line. Okay, it's not fitting, I'm out of space here, but you get the idea. Next, measure the wrist. You're going to mark that. At the same time, move to the other side and do that. Next, we're going to measure the elbow there. And again, at the same time, we do the movement for the other side of the body. There you go. So that's all for the arms. And as for the legs, we are going to do the same thing. So it doesn't matter. Let's start with the knee. The reason that I like to do this exactly at the same time for either side is that the body is identical, right? And if you're drawing freehand, there is a high chance that you don't do them exactly the same size. But now that we are using this method for measurement, why not take advantage and try to at least get them closer to the actual, to have them identical to each other. And bottom of the feet, again on that side. There you go. So now we have all of those done. Your next thing that you could do is to decide how you want to move your arms and legs. So if we call this point A and at the top point B, you could have so many movements in between. Now this was our main line for the arm. So if I get to draw so many lines here, I should be able to move my arms and have the exact measurements with no difficulties. Same thing for the legs. So you could move your legs in different direction on either side. Say if I want to move this leg over around this center line, how would that work? If I still have either side and I have my center part, I'm gonna come down here at my knee line, draw my circle, and then come to my ankle line, draw the circle. Seems like I didn't draw the bottom of the feet all the way for this guy, so let's complete that. There. And here is bottom of my feet. It's very similar to the other one that you did. So you go around and around. Now the tricky part is that when we move the legs, it might not be from front point of view anymore. So right now actually it is a little trickier because we are looking at the leg from side view. Just a general shape. I don't want to focus on shaping the details too much, right? So here is your leg. You could draw that around any of these, and the arm is the same. If the arm is coming here, for example, here's our elbow, so you come down here and then there we go from under the arm and having the hand right there. So you could move this around in so many different poses. The cool thing about this is that once you make one master model, you could always put another paper on top and trace your desired line, right? So that's my master model, and I'm going to put another paper on top, and this time I decide, okay, I want to have this position of the leg, and I want to move the position of the arm into different direction. So you don't need to start this every time from scratch. This is a cleaner version. I'm just going to quickly show you another trick. Say you want to have her arm to go out and in, right? Or maybe this other arm is coming here and then going up to her head. And maybe this is coming out and down here, right? How are we going to make sure that those are proper measurements? Very simple. We already have marked all the measurements, right? So from here to here is clear. Let's do what we can. So for now, I know that this is all good, so we could draw this part. But from here to here, I don't know. That's not measured, right? That's not marked. So what I can do is to use my compass, measure this section, right? And then from elbow to the wrist, I can mark. So I know that's my elbow to the wrist. And then I could decide from the wrist to the finger is that much. And I'm going to have another line. Now, you could move around your fingers. So you could have the full circle. Or not full, probably 180 only. Okay, so now that we have that, we know that this part, this is our wrist, right? And then from here we know that this is the fingertip. So now you could move your hand, the fingers that way, this way, in any direction you want. I just keep it very simple for now. There. with the same technique, you could move this other or measure the other arm. So again, from here, from elbow to the wrist is that much. So I can mark that. And again, from wrist to fingertips, you need to mark that. And there we go. Maybe I have it in this direction. Okay. As you can see, I'm not focusing on quality of the line at the moment. It's all about measurement. We will come back to these mainly because you're starting this. I don't want you to get confused and have too many things to think about and get overwhelmed. Right after this lesson, we learn how to clean up the drawing, right? So same thing for the legs. I mean, this is already in place, so I don't really have to measure again. The only difference here is that when you're moving the legs, they could go to side view and they're not front view anymore. So that's where you need to look at some pictures. I included lots of sketches on our website. Please refer to them. And if you don't like any of those, kind of look online and find the movements you do like to draw. There you go. Here is our fashion model. Let's give her some hair. Okay, I better stop. Okay, next, I think this is the last part I'd like to share with you guys, and that's how you could use these templates. If you have access to printer, please go ahead and print this down, and you could put another paper on top, use the measurement to draw. I did prepare something here ahead of time. I hope I can find it. There you go. So this is a template. It's the same template. It's one step before I got here. When you download that file, it's a PDF file and it has 7 pages. This is one of the earlier pages. So you're going to put a paper on top and just use that as a guideline. You don't need to measure using your ruler or eyeballing it. That's why I created a template, so you could quickly just mark your measurements. I have my divisions vertically and horizontally, and I could now go quickly decide about direction of my arms and legs first of all, and start kind of drawing it. Same technique. So that's how you would use it. And again, like in this one, I included different movements and tilting of different parts of the body. Here is another template. This is just like using a compass, right? I thought maybe some of you don't have access to compass at home. So you see those pink dots are, this is your elbow, this is your wrist, that's your fingertip. So it's like, instead of drawing that line, which I could actually do that right now to give you an idea, right? So if you don't have access to compass, this will do the same thing. You could decide any of those lines and start shaping your arms around that. Same thing for the legs. I believe that's all for this lesson, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Thank you.